The following program is a special presentation brought to you by WXOW 19.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 2024 version of Countdown to Kickoff, where we'll spend the next half hour previewing many of the local high school football teams and give you a little sneak peek into what you can expect from the upcoming season under the Friday night lights. Speaking of which, no program has had the lights shine brighter on them over the last 3 years than Aquinas. They're chasing a remarkable fourth straight state title. They've developed into a perennial power under head coach Tom Lee, but the program wasn't that far removed from darker days. I had a chance to sit down with Lee recently and talked about the evolution of the Aquinas football program.
Guys, I'm going to fire from here. This is power cleans, this is box jumps, this is all that training we've done all the year.
At first glance, it looks like any other practice at Aquinas. You can't see it, but it's there. The pink elephant.
Get up! You don't just pick up where you left off. It would be not, it's not that easy. It's hard for everybody. It's hard in the NFL, it's hard in high school.
Yeah, there's no hiding from it, the pink elephant. Aquinas is trying to become just the third team to win 4 straight WIAA state football titles. 13 returning starters are back, eager to continue the legacy. The
mission was always build the boys up and make them into men that are valuable members of society. Like that's always been the mission. It was when we were having tough times, and it was when we've had a little success.
Things weren't always so blue-golden for Aquinas. There were some dark days, and Lee was there for them. 1-8 in 2016, including a forfeit against Holman. 0-9 in 2017, including a 52-0 loss to West Salem.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, I thought, did I just maybe coach my last game at Aquinas? I thought that for a minute, and then the boys brought me back.
But things changed. They have 80 players total in the program now, a far cry from the days when they struggled to field a JV to go with their varsity.
Being able to move to football-only conferences in the state of Wisconsin, we never get to where we are without that.
So now the guy who literally drives the bus for the team is ready to take them down a road few have traveled.
There's 2 things that I got concerns with, and I told the boys this. One is entitlement. Like, oh, we're going to do it. Because they weren't around for the hard times. They've only known the good times. Like the guys previously, they remembered what the struggles we had. So they haven't shown that. The other one is the pressure that they put on themselves, that they have to do this. And so we're super process oriented. I haven't seen that yet either.
Lee, a history teacher at Aquinas, has a great appreciation for what was, with also understanding nothing great comes easy.
They really like Aquinas football history. So they've got great respect for guys that came before them. I brought up to the boys, I said, hey, there was a time where we couldn't fill up 3 rows of this of this theater that we're in. But I go, boys, I hope you understand, you're standing on their shoulders.
Kimberly at 5 in a row and Stratford at 6 straight are the only schools to win more than 3 state titles in a row. Aquinas have come in Division 5, but because of the WIAA's new tournament performance factor, the Blue Golds will compete in Division 4 once the postseason arrives. Let's stay in the Cooley Conference for a moment, where there's no hiding from high expectations at West Salem. The Panthers enter the season ranked 2nd in the state in Division 4 in the WITSports.net preseason poll, just 1 spot behind conference rival, top-ranked Aquinas. Now, there are many reasons for the high expectations. West Salem returns 17 starters, 9 on offense and 8 on defense, from a team that went 7-4 last season. Ryan Olson takes over as the head coach. He knows all about those expectations, and the team is ready to embrace them.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a lot of pressure on us as coaches to go out and perform, but we're excited for the team that we have and have very high expectations every week for us, and we're excited for the season.
A lot of hard work. We got to keep working towards our goal. You know, we set goals early in this year for our team, but hard work and dedication is what it's going to take to get back to that level.
This will be the Panthers' 3rd year in the Cooley Conference. They're 12-2 in conference play over the last 2 seasons. Over at GET, the Redhawks will be road warriors once again. After hosting Mondovi on Friday, the team then has road games at Baldwin, Woodville, Luther, and then Aquinas. But a playoff appearance a year ago has the Redhawks ready to take that next step as they try to finish with a winning record for the first time since 2019.
It's kind of hard. It's too bad we don't get a 5th home game this year.
Last year we didn't have a 5th home game either, so it kind of works out schedule-wise. So you deal with it.
Yeah, it would mean a lot for us. Last 5 years we haven't had a winning record. We've been pretty average, so we need to get over that hump this year, and I'm positive that we can get over that this year.
GET has 14 of 22 starters back from a year ago. And down the Lutefisk Highway to Westby, who had a very under-the-radar 8-2 campaign last year. Head coach Andy Hulse says while the team may be younger now, they do have more players on the roster. One comprised of 10 seniors, many of them part of their 9 returning starters on offense and defense. Westby's only conference loss came against Aquinas, and they managed to knock off West Salem. Huge accomplishments for a program aiming to keep that momentum going.
When that happens, you got a good group coming through like that, it kind of gets everyone else fired up for football. And those other guys this year have worked quite hard, and they want to kind of replicate that this year if they can. So hopefully that hard work's going to pay off.
The bond we got together is pretty tight, so I mean, we're not afraid to tell each other, like if we mess up, we're not afraid to tell each other, hey, fix it and do that.
The Luther Knights are back in the Cooley Conference after a short stint in the Scenic Bluffs, but another welcome change is how the program has turned things around. After closing out the 2010s with a 4-23 record, Luther has been much better this decade, putting up 18 wins and even hosting a playoff game last year. The Knights will hope to keep that going under head coach Jeff Comey, who says it's not just the football team that's improved.
I think it's just a slow culture shift in seeing with our entire athletic program here, and I think seeing some success in our other sports, with basketball. Consistency now with coaches, consistency with our systems. That's been part of the process all along the way.
This summer we got some agility, weightlifting every week, a few times a week. We didn't have that previous years. We just kind of do whatever we felt like, so that helps a lot, I think.
Arcadia is looking for a bounce-back season after falling to 2-7 in 2023. 13 returning starters should provide the Raiders with some solid experience this season. Head coach Derek Updike has 12 seniors on this year's squad. Updike tells us the goal is to be more competitive with the top teams in the Cooley. Taylor Henry leads Viroqua into battle this season, his third leading the Blackhawks program. Viroqua posted a 2-7 record a year ago. They'll have a dozen seniors back to lead them this season, one of their largest senior classes in recent years. 8 starters are back as well. They'll open the season at Dodgeville, a team that they beat big last season, I should say. Still to come on Countdown to Kickoff, our Mississippi Valley Conference previews, plus a visit with a new Hall of Fame inductee. We're back in a flash.
Countdown to Kickoff. This News 19 sports special is brought to you by Ultra Federal Credit Union, Train Technologies, and by the Universities of Wisconsin.
Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. One area coach has been given the highest honor. Caledonia's Carl Frichte was named to the Minnesota Football Coaches Hall of Fame class of 2024. This after a historic run, and he spoke with News 19's Colton Emswiler on why he considers it a team award instead.
Let's get the most important question out of the way, Coach. What does Hall of Fame induction mean to you?
Well, I just think it's a great community award. It speaks well of all of our players, all of our past and present coaches, administration, our ADs. It's truly a community award, and just really honored to represent Caledonia football.
10 titles in 13 years. How exactly do you achieve that level of success and consistency?
Yeah, I mean, attention to detail, and again, going back to, great parents, great coaches, kids that really want to do well, and of course you got to have a little bit of luck. Our job is to make better men. I like to tell everybody, we've never had a bad year. Some have just ended shorter than others.
Now, I wasn't here during that time, but just what was that era of Warrior football like?
It's fun, and I don't know that we'll ever get back to 10 and 13, but we feel like we're really close right now. But it's a special time where there's a lot of trust, a lot of communication, individual time put in by kids and coaches.
And obviously, there's got to be a lot of good athletes and good athletic families around here. Just what is this community like?
In Caledonia, we love our sports. I could rattle off a bunch of names. I won't do it because I'll be afraid I'll forget somebody. But you're absolutely right. We're very proud of the 3-sport athlete. If they're good in football, they're usually good in their winter and spring sport as well. So our kids like to stay outside and do active things.
Now, obviously, you've achieved just about everything a coach can, and your teams have done the same thing in that regard. But what exactly can you do that's even bigger?
My father always taught me that, sport, and of course we're talking about football in particular, but we believe in all sports. It's to make a young man or a young lady, get them ready for real life. To be a great husband, a great dad. Get up in the morning, go to work. As we know, it's so important to teach young people that there's life after high school, and we're really hoping and praying that that's what we get through to our young men.
All right, thank you, Colton, and congrats to Coach Frichte. Well, let's continue our team previews with a run through the MVC. There's high hopes in Hilltopper country, as always. After finishing atop the MVC the last 2 years, Onalaska's eyeing another deep postseason run. After dropping their first pair of games last season, the Purple and White rattled off 8 of 9 wins to advance all the way to level 3 of the playoffs. A whopping 18 seniors are on the roster, with about half of the starting lineup back with that experience in hand. But Coach Tom Yashinsky says it'll be a long time before we know just how successful this season will be.
I think success is a long-term thing. Like, obviously, you want to win, you want the record to be good, but it's high school sports, so really the success is determined long-term how these guys turn out when you're 20 years down the road and the kind of character they have, not necessarily what the scoreboard is every week.
We got some guys who can go up and get a ball. We also got some finesse guys. I'd say last year was probably the best receiver group we've seen in a while, and it's going to be some big shoes to fill this year, but I think we got guys that can do it.
Onalaska will open the season at home against West Salem in what will be one of the marquee matchups in Week 1. There is no shortage of experience on the north side. The Central Riverhawks will suit up 25 seniors this season, which of course is out on the south side, Now, many of those returning starters. Central returns 8 starters on offense and 3 on defense. This from a team that tied for the MVC title last season. This senior group helped lead the program to a 9-2 record, one of their best seasons ever, and now they want more.
It translates a big time. I always had a bunch of great mentors and upperclassmen coming through my 4 years, but now it's our time to step up. So I think we've had good enough leadership these past years that we'll be able to get the job done.
We're really fortunate to have such a strong senior class. A lot of these guys were asked to play 2 years ago as sophomores. So we've got a lot of snaps returning. They've done a tremendous job in the offseason, just getting us to a point where we feel confident with where we're at right now, and we're just going to build upon that.
And now to the north side. Logan will throw out a dozen seniors this season, many of them part of the team's 10 returning starters. The Rangers finished 3-7 last year, but had a lot of close games, so they're trying to find ways to play a full 48 minutes and try and flip that record on its head.
We lost 3 games by 4 total points, and so we were right there a lot of times, and we've got to, again, just make a few more stops here when we need to and get over the hump this year. That's been the talk since the last day of the last year. The kids are excited to make it happen.
I think we need to work harder in practice, more game speed. I think we were just a lot more scared last year to go hard. I think if we practice harder this year, we should be good.
Holman is hoping to regain its status as a perennial power in the MVC. The Vikings haven't had a winning season since 2019. They've qualified for the playoffs 2 years in a row, however. 22 seniors have returned with postseason experience, hoping to build off that. Holman would like to improve on the 19 points per game it scored last season, and they're eager to take a step forward this season.
I think there's a hunger to our team. There's a hunger in the offseason of guys getting after stuff in the weight room. You come out here and watch our guys in drills, the guys get after it. They get into the drill, they go. Our big mantra this year is that we're just going to sweat when we play and we work, so we want to get after it.
Chemistry, we got really good chemistry this year. We are coming together as a team. Over the team camp, we came together as a team really well. Everybody's doing the right thing. We got some stuff that we got to improve on, but chemistry-wise, we're doing very well.
Holman opens the season with 3 straight home games, starting with Medford in the opener. Perhaps no team in the area took a bigger jump than Tomah did last year. They won 5 games, which equaled their total from the previous 4 seasons combined. The Timberwolves lost a talented senior group, though, including all-conference running back Logan Rufflett. 23 seniors back this season for head coach Joe Protz, who enters his 5th season as head coach, but it will be a lot of new faces and new places in 2024.
This year with those guys being gone, we got a lot of new offensive line we got to fill in there, a lot of different spots and a lot of different running backs, but they're all excited, move the ball around a little bit more and just, see what we got as we move forward throughout the season.
And we're just going to grind it out as we usually do, and we have the underdog mentality again this year just because We know people aren't going to be as positive with us, but we're just excited to get back at it.
Speaking of turnarounds, what a turnaround for Sparta last season. From one win in 2022 to a 6-5 record last year. That included winning a playoff game. Personnel-wise, the Spartans are stacked, not to mention battle-tested with tons of experience. 8 starters return on both sides of the ball. 17 seniors will also put on the red and yellow this year. Sparta hoping to take that next step and work their way towards the top of a tough MVC.
Yeah, I think any year you come on out, you want to make sure that you have a competitive team. I think across the board, we have the ability to go out and compete with anybody in the conference. And anytime you're in that type of a situation, you take it one game at a time. It's really one of those that we have to focus on every single game and take care of the things we can take care of, not worrying about the long game.
I think we're looking really good, actually. We're starting off a lot harder than we were last year, and we're running more complicated things already and throwing new stuff in there, and all the guys are getting it down.
Still to come, football isn't just for the boys. We'll tell you about a new girls football program that's in its infancy. Stay with us. And welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. If you've been following News 19 sports this summer, you likely saw that a new sport made its debut in Minnesota. News 19's Colton Emswiler made the trip to the Twin Cities because the Minnesota Vikings played a huge role in making it happen.
I wanted to give them kudos for being the first group of girls here in the state of Minnesota to be doing such a cool thing and spreading the game to a wider audience.
That's how one pro describes high school girls flag football, which just finished its first year in Minnesota. Harrison Phillips spent time with players from all 4 schools participating in this pilot league, such as La Crescent Hoka and Houston. And the defensive lineman feels the young ladies might be able to give him a few pointers.
One of you guys was asking me about how I'd do out there. I'd be a little insecure. I'd have to really lace up the cleats. I mean, these guys are juking people out their shoes, making really cool plays. So I'm impressed with the level of play at what age, too. So you got young girls who 3-4 years from now are going to be studs out here.
The Vikings financially backed the sport with a grant worth $30,000 to pay for things like officials and uniforms. Now that year 1 is in the books, the organization is very happy with the outcome.
We couldn't have asked for a better first true season of high school girls flag football in Minnesota, and from here we only hope that it continues to grow and that momentum continues to build.
It resulted in Rosemount winning the first ever title in a 27-26 thriller over the Lancers at the Vikings practice facility. Linebacker Blake Cashman presented the award to the champs and was taken aback by every athlete's football acumen.
I love nothing more than be the hype guy, you know what I mean? So to get the honor to present the trophy to Rosemount was awesome. All these young ladies were competing. I was very impressed with just their knowledge of the game, how they were communicating, how they were calling out plays. It was great. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed watching.
But 2024 is only just the beginning. Dozens of girls took part in it this year, but hundreds could be playing flag football in the very near future, all with the Vikings' goal of this being an MSHSL-sanctioned sport by the end of the decade. Reporting from Eagan, Colton Emswiler, News 19 Sports.
Thank you, Colton. Still to come, more season previews. We'll be back.
Countdown to Kickoff. This News 19 sports special is brought to you by Ultra Federal Credit Union, Train Technologies, and by the Universities of Wisconsin.
And welcome back. 2023 was one of Cashton's best on the gridiron, spending a good chunk of the year as the top-ranked team in Division 7. That roster was top-heavy as only 4 starters returned on each side of the ball. But after an 11-0 start last season, they know what it takes to dominate in the Scenic Bluffs. Despite just 8 seniors, head coach Jared Hemmersbach feels the young Eagles that will see the field will have enough experience to compete.
These kids have played a lot of JV games. They've played in a lot of other games during the season the last few years. So they've had some reps, in position. So having those guys go through that, carry that cash and pride through. So, that's what we're asking them to do.
I've seen so much effort. These guys, we all are out here working hard. Everyone's trying to get better. We know we got some huge shoes to fill, but the effort everyone's been putting in, we've all been upbeat. Everyone's been cheering each other on. It's been great.
Cashton's biggest game will be a revenge matchup against Bangor, who eliminated them during the state quarterfinals. The Eagles will host the Battle of the Birds on October 4th. And speaking of Bangor, the Cardinals remain a perennial power in the Cooley region, and they're expecting big things again this season. Bangor is going 11-2 and reached the state semifinals each of the last 2 seasons. It's going to be a much different looking team. This year, they have just 7 seniors returning. 10 of their 11 starters on offense will be either new or playing a different position. Despite the turnover, the expectation is the same.
Every team wants to, leave their mark on this program, and I would hope that they would have lofty goals like that.
I think obviously you're gonna want to match that or beat it. It's something that'll weigh down on you in a way, and it's obviously kind of what the expectation is. But our full focus right now is conference, and then after conference, we'll see from there.
Torrey Lockington leads Melrose Mindoro back this season, hoping to move up the Dairyland Conference. The Mustangs were 5-5 last season and qualified for the playoffs after missing the previous year. A lot of underclassmen saw playing time last season and will assume a bigger role this year. DeSoto is hoping to continue its success in Wisconsin's 8-man football under Ev Wick. The Pirates returned 10 starters, 5 on each side of the ball, from a team that went 6-3 last season. DeSoto averaged 36 points a game last year. It was an impressive season considering they play in one of the toughest conferences in the state. 7 returning seniors will be the guiding force behind the Pirates this season. Beware the pit. Across the river, La Crescent Hoka has made a jump under now third-year head coach Terry Donovan. The Lancers have 22 seniors on this year's roster. Even with recent improvement, the program's still missing a winning season. They haven't had one since 2010, but with 15 starters total returning, finishing above 500 is reachable.
Well, that's what we're hoping to do this year. We were 500 2 years ago. We're hoping to build on the momentum that these seniors have been in year 3 and try to take this to the next level and get a winning season here and make some damage in the playoffs.
I think we've been playing together since 3rd grade, and our team chemistry is great. And I don't know, I think we all play hard and tough, and we can win some games this year.
The Lancers should be strong up front. They return all 5 of their offensive linemen. Hey, thanks for joining us on Countdown to Kickoff. Join us every Friday night for extended highlights and scores. If you miss us, check us out on our website at WXOW.com/sports for individual game recaps. I'll see you under the Friday night lights.